Hello and welcome to Military Mantra. In this interview, we have today Major Sinam, who have served in Army for close to a decade in the Parachute Regiment. And in this interview, we'll try to understand his journey of joining Indian Army, life in the Indian Army, and various life lessons that he has learned over his service. So thank you, sir, for coming on this interview and welcome.
Well, thank you, Ras.
Sir, if you could tell us, how was your journey before joining the Fauj and what motivated you to join the Indian Army?
From childhood, when I was born in Imphal, Manipur, and I was very much into this, motivated by these movies and serials. I used to watch this particular serial in DD channel that time used to come, that Paramveer Chakra, if you can remember. And when I came to Delhi, after my school, that is, I was doing my 11-12 from Delhi. That time, the first movie I saw in Delhi was this Lakshya was released that time. Okay, the Retd Roshan. And I think that particular movie had a very vast impact to all of us. And me, and when I joined Army, when I joined OTA, that time, me and my fellow lots of horsemen, whoever I asked, you, how did you join Army? Everybody replied, oh, I watched Lakshya movie. So maybe say that was the last, motivating factor. But other than that, when I belong, the place I belong, that is Manipur, where lots of insurgency was happening at the time when I was in childhood. I had a very much interaction with the CRPFs, with the Assam Rifles, then the army, So something, entered in me, in my subconscious mind, that this is what I want. All the actions, all the adventure. And subsequently, I always wanted to join army. And, I wanted to serve my country. I want to serve my nation. And same time, I wanted all that adventurous life is that service can give me.
Got it, sir. Sir, if you can, also speak about your experience in the service selection board, कि आपका कैसा experience था SSB में, and what tips you would like to give to the aspirants जो army, Air Force and Navy join करना चाहते हैं?
Yeah. First of all, I'll tell you, I just had only one experience with SSB because I got selected in the first SSB interview. And literally, I tell you, I was very nervous during the first interview. Reason might be कि when my SSB interview came, it was Allahabad. Everybody who have given SSB, everybody knows it is the rejection center of India. That was a title given to Allahabad SSB. And it's true also. Yeah? And when I came for SSB, we were around 80 people in my batch. Out of the 80 people, one person had to go because of some document problem, and we were around 79. We left. And screening happened next day. Then during the screening, only 40 remains. Then finally, that 4 days continuous, that SSB interview went. And literally, I was a bit nervous. I was not so much prepared compared to others who had come well prepared. But, I was truthful to myself. I was being myself. I didn't answer anything extra, whatever they asked. When the group discussion happened, I just participated only a few what I thought it is true. Other than that, I have not particularly, given any extra effort in that thing. And when the final result happened, I didn't actually believe I will get selected in SSB. And when the result came out, and my chest number was called, and it was it, and I made it. So the advice which I can give for the aspirants is these 3 things I would like to give. Firstly is take help of coaching institute. As well, I also taken help, although it was not for very long, but I've taken help from Cavalier in Delhi. And there are other good institutes also there apart from that. Because coaching institute is not to rely upon it, but to have a basic understanding and preparation about SSB interview. Because when you go for interview, they were expecting that you should know about the interview process. That can only happen when you either you have been to an interview before, or secondly is either you have taken some help from the coaching institute. So this is the number 1 point. Second point I would like to give: be yourself. don't be a ratta master, which we call, because that person, the psychologist was sitting during your interview for the SSB, they know what type of person, and are you telling the truth? Are you being honest? Or are you just blabbering whatever taught in the institute? Okay, so we cannot just mug up anything. You have to be yourself, be truthful about it, and it will help. Thirdly, I will say is be smart. This is the smartness. Your first impression is your last impression. There's always a saying, and people say that. So for that purpose, just wear a plain white shirt with a dark pant, any pant, and a simple tie with a nice haircut, and apart from that, and have a clean shave if possible. This give a first good impression, and you will be automatically something different from others, you can say. So this gives the impression to the SSB that who will be there to judge you, in that person, that you have came prepared. So this is the 3 points I will convey to the aspirants of SSB.
Got it, sir. So we have heard something about OLQ, that is officer-like qualities. So what is your perspective about it? Did you know about it? Did you go develop and then go? And does it get developed over the service and your experience in the army itself?
I will tell you about officer-like qualities are those qualities which we require from every officer. There are around 15 qualities laid down by this during our training, during SSB also. They just upon these 15 qualities is all through your service till you retire. Every year we have an annual assessment, and through these qualities only we have been assessed annually also. It is not like that you are just this OLQ only for SSB. It is through your lifetime, your Asia, your judgment, everything happens through these qualities only.
Got it.
And I will say ki OLQ, some they believe when you go for an SSB, they already have just ki you have already few qualities in you. That's why they are selecting you. And rest, some qualities, it can be developed, nurtured, okay, over a training, over a time. Example, I give you one simple example: honesty. Okay, people will sound ki this is not a quality, but honesty is one of the best quality. Okay, but that cannot be developed during training. It have to be yourself, because how you're groomed by your family, your elders. Okay, discipline, like say it has been groomed in your family also. How do you discipline in the sense ki how do you respect your elders? How do you respect your colleagues? How do you respect people who are below you? This can be developed, but it cannot be trained during training. So few this kind of qualities during SSB they judge. But apart from that, I will tell you, you have to be yourself. Okay, because if you try to, you cannot cheat on these qualities during interview. And those people who are sitting, they are trained psychologists, and they will catch you by checking this. And during the 4 days, people who have given already the SSB interview, they know in between how they check.
Got it.
And lastly, yes, I didn't knew about this officer-like quality when I went for my SSB. Actually, I came to know later after I did my training, that is training academy.
Okay. So you went to Officer Training Academy. So how was life in OTA? And any memory that you still cherish, which you would like to share with the audience?
Yeah, I'll say like that was apart from being an officer, that was the best days in my life. I had many memorable memories there in the OT. The bond, the friendship, the brotherhood. You are made for life now. Although I tell you, we pass out around 350 around cadets and gentlemen cadets and lady cadets, but I am able to keep in touch around 30 to 40 at the max. But if you just say your name, oh, I am from I'm SS92, so I'll say, oh, I am from SS92. Oh, you're from SS92. Then the connection suddenly happens, and the bonding again come back to you. Like recently, after I got released from army, I met a friend who I have not seen him for last 10 years. I met him during our training. Once we passed out, he went to separate ways, I went separate ways. We could not able to connect at all. But after we got released, I just met him. And it was that joyful, that feeling of, the same that, when you have been in the training together, you have sweat together, you have done the training together, all this bond, all this memory, it's flushed out of you. And the best memory I can say one is that during our training is that, uh, I'm from a Nosara company.
Okay.
In that time we have only 4 company. I think now they have 5 company right now. So in my company there was a tradition, like whenever we win some competition, there should be a cake ceremony. Okay. And during my second that is when I was senior, we call second term. During the second term, when finally we won the banner also that year. We won the 3rd consecutive banner we won. So we got the replica of the banner. So we won it that time. And we knew the cake ceremony is going to happen. So the cake ceremony is something different. So I'm just sharing with you. So what happened is, we knew that the cake ceremony was going to happen, but we didn't know how. So the DS came, we call company commander officer. The DS came along with all the other DS. Around 3 DS are allowed to, 3 to 4 DS. So that day only 3 was there. So 3 came. They bought a cake. Then after that, they made us do falling. After that, they made us do all types of, rolling, crawling, everything, and when we fall in, we were wearing, half white shorts and white banyan we wear. That is the particular drill at evening when we do a falling. They PT dress basically. Yeah. And they made us like full top to down, full all dirty. And after that, we were everything dirty. That is after dinner actually. This is okay. After 9 p.m. This thing happened. And the cake was bought. It was a very big cake, around 5 to 6 kilo maybe. Okay. Then it was in the center, and we were told to circle around the cake. Then once everything was circled, the DS took the photograph. Then he just said "Charge." Then we all have to jump on the cake. Whoever get the cake in the mouth, he gets it, or he get dirty, he gets it. This is later on that time we used to realize what they are doing. They could have just cut the cake and distribute it like normally in a party or something happened. But this kind of traditions, it actually developed the bond. You are fighting for the cake. Okay, it is not the cake that we are fighting for. We are fighting for that, the excitement and the enjoyment and the pleasure that we have won something. And same way we are trying to win the cake over it. So this is a particular memory we used to have there. And I really enjoyed that night, especially the last night which we had. We were about to leave after hardly around a week was just remaining that we were about to leave the academy.
Nice. So from OTA, you went to Parachute Regiment. So what made you, decide that you want to join the Parachute Regiment, or what was your motivation?
I will tell you this little bit, 3 incidents happened in my life, and either you may call it a destiny or not. These incidents and particularly these 3 things, made me join this Parachute Regiment. First incident happened when I was studying during college. I had a brother, my brother in the sense he same state type, and he was elder to me and senior also. So I used to visit him. I went to take notes. I was doing political science from Delhi University. So I went to take notes from him. One particular day when I went to his room, I saw a big poster there. It was the Parachute Regiment, marching from the, in our Republic Day parade, and the big posting around, and it was placed Maroon Beret. That time newly the Tavor was inducted, so the Tavor was there. And he gave it nicely. He decorated and kept in his room, and I got so excited. I said, "What is this? It's Indian Army." Because I knew about army, but I have not seen that para or SF. I didn't know about it that much. And same like me, he was very crazy into especially commandos and all. So yes, he said he described me a little bit about this thing. They are the special forces, and they are the best of the best, something he said, and that triggered me in my mind. First instance. Second instance was when I went for SSB during my interview. Luckily, my interview was done by the commandant of the Allahabad SSB board. It is a major general. Okay. We had a 1 hour sort of interview in that, and he listened to me well. I was very genuine, whatever questions he asked. And during the last interview, he asked me, which arm or which you want to join in the army? I said, I want to join Para SF, Para Special Forces. I said. He said, do you know what is Para SF? I said, I don't know exactly what it is, but I have heard they are the one of the best of the best of the best, something like that. I said, because I was just saying, novice, I didn't know anything about so much at that time. Then he said, okay, good. He said, then I came out. Then again, during the SSB, we have this, what do you call conference?
Yes.
We have, during the conference also, when all our instructor, all the psychologists were sitting, and I was called, that it was conference was only 1 minute or so. So when they came, the one question directly, the commandant asked again, tell me again why you want to join Para SF. Then I said, I have few of my seniors, they went to artillery, some went to infantry, some went to other regiment. I want to prove myself better than them, and I want to show them I can be best. And that's what I said. And this is the second instance it happened. But when I joined OTA, it totally, this Para SF has disappeared from my brain. Okay. Because when you do a training, the people around you, you want to follow that. And during the time, we have a JCO, the drill Subedar Major. He was from Gurkha Regiment. One of our adjutant, he was from 111 Gurkha Regiment, the bravest of the brave citation they got. And and by seeing them again, I got motivated to Gurkha. And another thing, motivation was that my girlfriend, now presently she's my wife, her father, that is my father-in-law, he was from Gurkha Regiment, and I wanted to join Gurkha Regiment, also to impress him. I have joined Gurkha Regiment. It will be like a connection, because I'm not a Gurkhali, I'm a Manipuri, and he's a Gurkhali, so it will have a little impression. So I thought it will help. But during our when we were set for this choice of arm, we call it, during before just leaving the army, the OTA, that time we have to fill 3 choices. So I feel Gurkha, then I feel all this thing. Then later on I came to know that Gurkha only 1 seat was coming in my that thing, and that has been reserved by one of my friends, because in army, during the selection, this also they said call a PC.
Yes.
System. If your father have commanded the unit, or you have a Subedar Major, then you get the first priority of PC. And that was going to happen, same thing, because in the same block which I was there, my close friend, we are from the same company, so he told me 1 seat is coming, but I'm already PC, you will get casualty. Then I got worried. Then I called up few of my seniors and all who are in the army. I said, what to do. Then I call up, my uncle also. Yeah, my uncle also is from Gurkha Regiment, actually. So I called him up. I say, I want to join Gurkha. Can you help me out? Can you speak to somebody? How it can be done? Can you transfer me to this block to another block? Something I, just he can do. But you know what he told me? He told me, don't ever go for infantry. They are the worst place to go. And he said, go for ASC or a ordnance. They are the non-fighting arms. He said, you will have a good life. And I was abdomen. I told like all the time, infantry, all through my 11 months of training. I was so worried. I didn't know what to do. Then I knew Gurkha is not going to go. Then I finally, then there I saw like that day, many people were feeling this Para SF volunteer. Then I was so much motivated. Then, that maybe the previous 2 instances I told you, it triggered my mind. Then that was the instant I without telling anybody, I just feel that Para SF and I let it. The volunteer form, because Para SF, you have to fill a volunteer separate form. For normal filling choice of arm, you just have to fill 3 choices and done. For Para SF, you have to fill a volunteer form along with the choice of arm, you have to submit it.
Got it.
Okay, because if you are casualty in the SF, then you will get a infantry unit or some other unit. That's the reason. So when the announcement came of the allotment of units, then when my name came finally, GC so and so unit dash Para SF. Oh, then I realized I got through the first instance. So this is how my journey from OTA to SF went through like this.
Nice, sir. So you were in the 11 Para SF. So how was your experience during the probation? Because we have seen a lot of videos on Discovery and a lot of people speaking about it. How was your experience in the probation? What do they actually check?
Okay, I'll tell you, probation it is actually a torture. I can say, describe. Nothing good about it, nothing bad about it. But it is basically they test you physically, mentally, and what do you call it? Your limits. How much limit can you take that thing? We may be mentally fit, physically fit, but what is the breakdown point? You must have watched the video, breaking point,
Yes.
the series and all. So this is actually is true. They is finding you where is the limit where you will break, and the limit actually decides whether you are selected or you're not selected. Okay. And it was, I'm telling you, it is a very, very difficult or gruesome, because I didn't believe that I can make it to SF. Basically, I'm telling you is, right now I'm fit, everything is done, I have passed my clear probation, everything good. But before joining SF, I was, not the fittest of among all the, GC, gentleman cadet who pass out from the OT. Example I'll tell you is, I told many people have filled the para volunteer form during our from OTA. It was a 12 people who filled. Out of the 12 people, we 11 got volunteer for different regiments and units. And I got 11 para. So that 11 para was a new raising. And I went to it. I got that. Out of these 11 people, only 2 were selected who cleared probation. One is my coursemate friend who got selected, and another was only me. So just imagine how the probation, and among all the 11 people, if you take it, I must say, in terms of merits and all the physical and all this thing, they were in the higher age to me. When I got para SF, what was the first comment of my instructor DS? He said, "Sinam, are you really? Are you joking? You are opting for SF? I never knew." And the same DS I met after I got commission. I got selected for SF, and I met him after a gap of 3 years. He was so happy, so happy. He just hugged me and he said, "I am so proud of you. You have made me so proud. I never believed you can do it, but I have never, doubts on you." And and he was so proud. So this is about SF. This is how can I describe about probation. If you want me to tell a little bit about probation, it is simply, 2 things is involved in that. That is physical part, and physical part is a time given. You have a test conducted every weekly, monthly, till the time the final test happens. Then they say, stress fest comes, where they make you survival. They will test you psychologically, mentally, how much limit can you can deal with the situation. Then in same time, the training also goes. They teach you different skills, weapon training, communication skill, medical skill, demolition skill, and some even combat arms also, like PKT was taught to us that time. So this is how they teach you in between also, and they test you accordingly. And once the probation is over, then there is a conference, and all the officers, all the instructors who are there during the probation, they will sit and they will decide whether this will be selected or not be selected.
Got it.
And the best memory after the probation which I got was when I received my Maroon Beret. That was the best memory, which I'll tell you.
Got it. Sir, I just have one more question before I proceed. So what is the significance of the Maroon Beret that you're wearing, and also the Balidan badge that I can see? What is the significance of it?
Yeah, Maroon Beret, it is only worn by the special forces and the Parachute Regiment. It is a regimental beret. There are, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. These are the SF. Then 5, 6, 7 are the Parachute, battalion. Then again, 9, 10, 11, and 12, they are SF. And again, we have 23 and 29 as a Airborne battalion. So this all we make a regiment, and all the regiment are authorized to wear the Maroon Beret along with the parachute crest on it. And the Balidan is worn only by the SF units. And Balidan is not given when you get the Maroon Beret. Maroon Beret is given when you pass the probation. Balidan is only given when you are, qualified enough that you have done a combat experience. It may take 1 month, it may take 2 months, it may take 3 months, or even sometimes it may take 6 months also. When your team leader or team commander we call and the CO thinks he is fit to go into combat and he have done a minimum combat experience, then they finally give the Balidan.
Got it.
Yeah.
Sir, since you are also a paratrooper, so if I can ask you, how was your first experience when you jumped out of an aircraft? How did it feel like?
I will tell you, it's amazing. It is the 40 to 50 second of the flightlessness you have in the, after you jump out from the aircraft until you land on the ground. It's totally amazing. I'll tell you example mine. We had a ground training at PTS Agra, run by the Air Force. And after the ground training, I cleared everything. We were ready for the first jump. We did our parachute, we board parachute, board reserve and the main parachute. We boarded the AN-32 aircraft. Then when I was ready. And at same time, I was having one small camera, Nikon camera, that time. I was not having so much smartphone because chances of break is very high and it does not record proper. So I have a Nikon camera that time. I had tied up properly with my chain and also that, I can take video after that was my thinking. I have to capture this movement because I was very much excited, to jump out from the aircraft. And it was ready. And when the time came, I jump out, exit from the aircraft. After 5 seconds, my parachute was open. And as soon as open, only thing I thought about, open the camera and start shooting, filming. And I did also. I started filming, I was recording, I recorded myself, I recorded my parachute opening, everything I was doing. And literally I forgot I have to land also. And somebody from below is shouted, "Suck para position," means be ready in the position to land. And I realized it's hardly 100 meters or so, it was just about to land. And I quickly, try to, put the camera in between my reserve suit in my chest. I quickly make the position and just roll over and I landed. And, and I was not worried literally whether I got injured or no. I was just checking whether my camera that it got recorded or no. This is how excited I was. And I'm telling you that 40 to 50 seconds of that, the movement in the sky, it is totally amazing.
Sir, when you were a young officer and you joined the Para-SF, so how was your first combat experience and various learnings that you have from that experience? If you can share that.
Yeah. When I joined my the first experience, which I tell you is which I learned during my combat experience, like don't become a Superman. Although I was a paratrooper and now I'm a special forces officer, but by watching lots of movies or etc., you want to take all the load to yourself as an officer. You want to carry extra magazine, extra equipment, everything extra. Okay. And when I went with that all the extra load and finally I went for the combat, we had a small team concept, used to go either in 6 or either in 12 or either in 18 in terms of 6, all multiple of 6. So that time we went with 6 and when all the load I was carrying, I was not able to cope up with the same team because they were all experienced people. They have been to combat like many times. And for me, it was the first time.
Yes.
Okay. And I had a very difficulty in, in navigating that difficult terrain because it is all mountainous terrain, not so easy. We never go by track or anything. We always go by cross country. So it was very difficult. Then finally, after the first day, my team commander realized I am having something difficult. He asked me what happened. I said, this is the problem. Then, because then I said all the stuff, equipment extra, everything was said among all the troops. Then literally, then we came back. Then that day I realized one thing, SF is not a one-man job. It is a, a team. Either it's a small team, but it is a team. That's why in SF, we have a squad of 6 men and every man is divided. We have a commander, we have a navigator, we have a scout who can navigate and do scouting board also. We have a communication chap who can communicate. We have a demolition chap who is expert in demolition. We have a medical chap. If anything happened to us, he will take care of it. So all the workload is divided, and you cannot be a one-man show in this. And that is the time I realized ki don't. And I always tell my junior, whoever trying to go to first operation, I always tell, don't be Superman. Be a team. Go in a team and learn from it, from the experience of others who have already been to combat for so long. And that was my, most what I call that, that experience I had, and this is how I learned, and I imparted the same knowledge to my youngsters, to my men also. I impart the same thing which I have learned from this.
Got it. So, what was your, favorite weapon back then when you were in combat?
Okay, weapon. Actually, weapon I'll tell you is I used to prefer this M4, 5.56 mm M4 rifle that is made in USA. But taking the severity of operation, if I knew this operation is going to have a contact, then I will not prefer 5.56 M4 because it's a very small caliber. So I'll go for the 7.62 AK. That is modified AK we have in SF, it's foldable and all. So I will prefer that weapon because the kill caliber is high and the kill purpose it is accurate also.
Got it. So we have heard, a lot about the Special Forces Parachute Regiment. So what makes Parachute Regiment so special?
The motto defines everything, The motto, man apart, every man an emperor. You must heard about it.
Yes.
It defines the true meaning. That is, one, we are a volunteer force. Okay. We are not nominated like in other infantry units. We are either for Jawan, they are nominated to go Jat Regiment, they are nominated to go Gurkha, they are nominated to go Rajput as per their choice on everything, or the artillery or LC, they are nominated to go. But SF is a volunteer force. Everybody can come. Everybody can join from different arms. They say no, not saying ki you are a AC supply corps chap, you cannot come to SF. You are a EME chap, you cannot come to SF. You are artillery chap, you cannot come to. No, there is no distinguishes of anything. Whichever arms you are, you volunteer it, you fill the para volunteer form, you submit it, and you come do the probation. If you clear, then you are SF. The first thing is about it's a volunteer force. Secondly, everyone, officers or Jawan, has to pass and clear the probation. It is not a free ride. Example, I'll tell you mine. I got commissioned into 11 para SF from OTA. But it is not 100% certainty that I will remain at 11 para SF. It is up to me. If I clear, I will remain. If I don't clear, I have to fall back to any other arms. Any other infantry arm, they will send me. But I cannot remain in para SF. So probation you have to clear. It is must. And probation is same. Either you are an officer or a Jawan. The amount of probation, the time, the duration, all the skill, everything is same. For the officers, of course, they have an extra duty also. Example, like they have been judged separately also. Like lots of tasks are given to the officer, especially because officer he is going to lead the men. He's going to lead them in the combat, in the life situation combat. So he have an extra task. Apart from Jawan, they get a rest time also in between the probation, little bit of time. But officer never has a time. Lots of tasks will be given to him, and he have to complete the task due to allotted time to him. And thirdly, I'll say is when people reach the limit, they don't have to remain in the SF. They can just fill a non-para volunteer form, and they can go back to the unit which he came from. Either he came from an infantry unit like a Jat regiment, he can go back to the Jat regiment, his own regiment. And if you're coming from some artillery or a ASC or ordnance, he can go back to the same. So thirdly is this key, when you have reached the limit and you are not cannot function as an SF guy, then it is the time it comes, then you have to go, you can go back. So these three, it is our own choice. All three are. To fill the form is our choice. to do the probation is our choice, and to go back to fill the non-para volunteer is our choice. Okay. And the last thing I will say why SF is so special is that we are the first and the last stand of any of the Indian Army, you know. Like something happens, like you must have heard about the Uri attack. We, that happened, we were called. Okay. So we are always the last stand. And, you know, we are also the first stand also. I'll tell you what I'm trying to say is, you know, say example, some tasks are required to be done and it cannot be done. The hierarchy knows it cannot be done by any other unit, infantry or a ghatak of the infantry. They cannot do it. They will give the task to the SF, and SF will always, you know, for them the task, the mission is their life. It does not matter, but anyhow I have to complete the mission. That is the one factor. Secondly, the last resort I'm telling you. Last resort is how let's say some firefight happened with in the JNK cell, some RR or an infantry unit involved in firefight. They suffer some casualty and they require a help. So finally, what they do, they call the SF guys, you know, to support them. And you know, so we are also the last resort, also to help when they are in trouble.
Got it.
And another thing we say, the motto Chaturvedi, you know, the conqueror. And our motto, which I told you, man apart, every man an emperor. Because everybody in the para SF, they have to live up to this motto, you know, to make the regiment proud and to make our own battalion also proud.
Got it. So you have, you know, served in an army for close to, you know, a decade. If I can ask you any 3 life lessons that you still cherish, any 3.
The life lesson which I learned from the army is this: first, in order to, you know, people to follow you, you must be capable to lead. You know, if you can't lead, people will not follow you. People may follow you just and you know, this can be trained during the academy. We have been trained to be a leader and all everything, but at the end it is up to you. You have to lead them into combat. So first is this, you have so I have learned is, you know, how to lead them, you know, how good leader I am. And you know, people should, you know, look up to me and say, you know, we trust you, we trust with our life, and we trust you with our life, so you can lead us and you can bring back safely to us. So this is the first thing. Second is, during combat you cannot you know, you can only trust the person next to you, you know. So, and of course the weapon. We always say we have 2 things that save us during our combat experience. That is the weapon in your hand and the buddy next to you. And this is the thing, that trust you, the bond that you develop with your buddy, it is very strong in SF. And thirdly, which I learned, you know, one thing I realized when I joined army, I told you earlier, I wanted to serve the nation, I want to serve the country. Although indirectly I did during SS service to my you know, during my 10 years of experience. But one thing I realized, during combat you are not fighting for the country actually, you know. You may think it's a very, you know, delusion I'm talking, but yeah, you're not fighting for the country. That time it is not the country that you're fighting for. You are fighting for the pride of the platoon or the unit. Because you must have seen lots of other war movies, Hindi movies, or you must have lots of history. If you read, everybody starting from the this our great heroes in every war, they have given their life for the platoon. And at the same, platoon is for the country. So this thing I realized, platoon is our life, you know. When we shout our, you know, the war cry, and we are ready to fight for the combat, the mind, it is so much that energy, you know, so much energy it comes out, you know, that you are ready to do anything. Nothing is impossible that you feel. That is the pride you have for the platoon, and that you want to, you know, live up to that, you know, that you want to raise the level of the platoon, you know, the pride in every, there's a, you know, vast nature of, you know, I can say we feel, and it is a feeling basically, and the pride and the love for the Paltan, automatically the nation happens at the last.
Got it. Sir, I have one more question. What does leadership mean to you? And how Indian Army helped you develop those skills? Because when you would have joined SF, you would have gone into combat with people who have a lot of experiences, who's equivalent to your age itself, Havldars and all of them.
Yes.
How do you lead them
Yes.
during that? How did that happen?
Okay, I'll tell you. Leadership, as you go by definition, is the ability to lead the people you under you. Okay, is the ability to lead basically. There are two ways we have been trained during our training at Officer Training Academy or IMA, for example. We have been trained to become a leader through by studying case study, describing the stories of our various leaders. We have a military paper on different leaders also. So this is how we have been trained in the training at a Officer Training Academy. This is one part. Second part is the experience. When I just first joined SF, and when I went there, I cannot sense myself a leader. Although I've been trained and all, I cannot sense it. But once I experience it, then I realized, yes, I can be a leader. And once I experience it through my various experience in my service, there's almost 10 years, then I right now I can say, yes, I was a good leader. Because how a leadership is defined, I told you earlier, it is the men under you. If they know they can trust you to lead an operation, if they know their life depends on you, but you will make sure you will bring them home back. So this makes a leader. And it only comes with two things. One is the training, which we had, and another is the life experience.
Got it. So my final question to you would be, a lot of aspirants will be watching us. So what will be your message to all those who want to join the Army, Air Force, or Navy?
I will tell you, Indian Army, Indian Air Force, and the Indian Navy is one of the best organizations, that gives you an opportunity to serve your country. And also nowadays you get a good pay also as an officer. And secondly, I'll say is explore all angles. People say I tried all entry like NDA, IMA, OTA. Then they say technical NCC entry also. And if you are not able to make it, and people say because of my ex relaxation I could not do it, I will always suggest people why don't you try territorial army also? So second is I'm saying explore everything, whichever you can join, which either everything whichever I told you. And lastly, the third point is, at the end of the day, like mine, you will have your own experience and a combat stories to tell. Like if I'm not being in the Indian Army, or if I'm not in the Para SF, I will not be talking to you right now and discussing about this thing, right?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, that story matters. What was your experience that you had? And you'll have your own experience and own story which you can narrate, which I feel I can also do when my child grows up and all. Yeah.
Nice. So thanks a lot, for your time on this session. We could learn a lot of things from you and your experiences that you had within the Army. Thanks a lot again, sir, for your time here. Jai Hind.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ras. Thank you.